Hey man, here we are, No Bull Real Talk, and I got Doug Crane here on my right and Tony Ty over there on his right. And man, I just found out, here's how close family is. Doug's my little brother, and we got all this love. And then I just find out, talking to my daughter, that he's got a tattoo shop like 5 miles from my house. Tony opened up a tattoo shop. We're gonna make you a show you can't refuse. How about that? I'm gonna try to say this right, man. Kaizen Tattoo Studio at 128th and Memorial in Bixby. So you guys get a chance, go check that out. But man, this is our first podcast. I'm excited about it. We got a whole bunch of podcasts and some badass guests in the future. And No Bull Real Talk, man. We're just gonna talk about real stuff, real people, real things, real happenings. I don't care anything about. Not going to get into too much about, political parties and all that crap. And man, we're just going to have real people, have real talk, and we're going to maybe open up some eyes and ears to some stuff. And I think that people having a different perspective, like hearing things from different people and how they view it, man, that's what it's all about. It's about understanding things in people better. And when that happens, then I think more people can get along, or they can just shut up and go mind their own business. And, you don't have to believe what everybody believes or do what everybody does, but you also can't get your panties all up in your butt crack about it either. So anyway, man, you'll see the sponsors back here. I hope you guys hit those guys up and support those businesses. And as we get bigger, we'll get national and worldwide sponsors. But man, I'm excited. We're right here in the podcast room, little speakeasy. And Doug, we're going to kind of start off with Doug, because that's kind of where the story begins. We're going to talk about tattooing inside the life of being a tattoo artist. And I've been fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough, to be around both these guys as they started their actual tattoo careers. And we'll jump back and forth a lot in time. But when I first met Tony through Doug, Doug and I are out doing something stupid probably, and he's like, man, let's swing by and see my friend Tony. And we went into your family's toenail shop and fingernail shop. People in there getting their toe jam stuff pulled out, and little Asian women in there chopping and sanding. And Tony's over there painting like full Van Gogh stuff on people's fingernails, man. I was like, what is up with that? So I thought he was putting little stickers on. And then he looks at me like I'm stupid. I'll never forget. He said, no, man, I'm painting that on there. And I was like, no. And I'm not even talking like a little happy face or emoji stuff. I'm talking like pictures and stuff on their fingernails. And then Doug, man, Doug and I go way back a long time. We could probably have just a whole podcast on he and I and how long we know each other. But he's my little brother, man, and I've stuck by him, and he's man, has this dude grown. Both of them in their tattooing too. It's incredible. So, how long ago was that you were doing fingernail jam and cutting hangnails? And
I stopped doing it around 2013, but I did that for 9 years.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So what did you do, man? Tony just like said, man, I think I can paint a picture on a fingernail.
I've always had a thing for art. I just love art. I would spend so much time on a little design, and I would barely make anything. Well, right. I could have just done a pedicure and made $25. I would spend an hour just a little design for $5, And I remember my old boss.
$5 a finger?
Yeah, for two designs. For 2 designs on 2 fingers.
So you only painted 2 fingers on somebody.
Yeah, 2 fingers would be $5, and then like all 10 fingers would be $15. And
man, that's
my old boss was like, man,
that's slave labor, bro.
Yeah, you're taking too long. Like, why don't you go do a pedicure, make more money? I was like, oh, I don't know.
Because you don't want to touch no dirty feet.
I do. I don't mind it.
You don't mind dirty feet?
No.
Can you smell okay and all that?
Always bad.
Man, I can't touch nobody's feet. That's
bad.
Gross.
It gets bad.
Woo. But so anyway, then how did you and Doug meet?
Jeez, I don't know what it was. He came into the gym with a mutual acquaintance, and something about guns got brought up. Tony's always had a bunch of guns. Loved guns. Painting AK-47s on fingernails and stuff.
Oh, so you guys just met in the gym?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then something in this, and then that's whenever I was selling a bunch of guns, and then met with Tony the next day. I don't know, where's like 81st and Lewis?
You don't have to
or
talk
something?
about maybe
Stanford's
just an
charity.
illegal gun transaction we're about to get into.
Nah, it wasn't illegal, but I didn't know Tony. He didn't know me. So he's like, yeah, you
It
got
felt
guns? I
legal.
want to buy some guns. I was like, oh, well, I'll pull up on you tomorrow.
Then he told me, he pulled up to my work.
That stuff's okay in Vietnam, but you know here they'll kind of
Yeah, he pulled up to my one of the nail salons and was like, "Hey, hop in the car." I'm like,
He's like, no.
I don't know you.
So I remember back in the day, and I don't even know when it was, but you were in a little old town, man, Okmulgee, and I get this call from Doug, and he's like, "Man, I'm down here. I'm doing tattoos in Okmulgee." And I was like, "What?" Because man, this dude he had lint in his pocket, so I don't know how he was opening up a damn tattoo shop, but I know he's resourceful. And so I go down there, and he's in a tattoo shop with these people down there, and this thing had been probably like a Coney dog stand. It'd been like a floor. I mean, this little building had been everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still going through all those phases. And so I was like, hook me up. I had one tattoo at the time, and I was like, hook me up, and it's on my arm. And all it was is like this sword, and it was supposed to come in and out of my skin a little bit, you know. And I had some fallen friends that are tattooed on there, and when they passed, and Doug was like, "Oh man, I don't know if I can do that, bro. I don't know if I can do that." And he's all, no, and it's basic. I won't ever let him touch it up. Like, we got some catching up to do on some of the tats, but I want that one, and it looks like someone did it in a house. Like, it's not. Mine's aren't, yeah, so mine's aren't clean. And, yeah, and it's not very graphic. It's pretty, but it's from the beginning, man. And so, what made you decide to just say, I'm going to start inking people?
I was out of town with some friends who race motocross. I think we were in Denver or something. I can't remember. But I had already started getting tattooed, and then I got home on I think it was a Monday or something like that, and my brother was on the couch, and he was passed out, but I was like looking at his stomach. I was like, damn, those look good. I was like, who did that tattoo? And he's like, oh, some guy opened up a shop at Martin Luther King and Wood Drive. And I was like, what?
You don't Mogi?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I went over there and and that's where I met Scott. His name's Scott Dees. And just got to talking to him, and he realized that, you know, I knew a lot of people from town. I grew up there and stuff like that. And he's basically like, if you can help me kind of get the shop off the ground, you know, bring some people in, bring your friends in, blah, blah, blah. He's like, we'll start, you know, teaching you how to tattoo. And at this point, I realized that he was giving me basically like an apprentice proposition, and I didn't realize what it was going on at the time. But so I started bringing a bunch of people in there. Scott's the only one in there tattooing, and then it's like 2 weeks go by, and basically I just feel like his little bitch. I'm like fucking cleaning shit and fucking taking out trash and breaking down this station and like putting this station up and all this.
But isn't that a part of it? Isn't that a
Yeah,
part of
but I wasn't
apprenticeship?
explained. I didn't know. You know, I was like 18, maybe 19 at the time. I think 19, yeah, and or some shit. I don't know. And so finally I was like, dude, you said you were gonna teach me how to tattoo. I was like, so about the time I'm ready to walk out one day, he's finally just like, it was kind of like the Karate Kid, you know, when the kid's like sick of being his bitch. It was literally like that. And it was just, the rest is history, man. I started learning how to tattoo.
So what was your first? Do you remember your first tattoo? When you sat down, I was like, oh, this is all me.
I mean, honestly, like in a shop, I kind of remember, yeah, it was like Scott had set up a tattoo with some biker, and it was like a skull. I think he did it on purpose to kind of like intimidate me, you know. But I had come across some machine in the streets a year or so before that, and was like trying to figure out how the fuck it works. And like, where like where do I get ink and all this stupid shit, you know? So that was probably the very, very, very first time I ever tried to apply a tattoo was in an apartment, like a lot of other tattooers, you know, who learn in the penitentiary or whatever, learn in the streets.
Yeah,
but
man, I got one on my back right now. We gotta do some work on it, but he was still down there. Went to his apartment. He was with a crazy girl, and it was almost 6 hours, man. We're in his bedroom, and I'm leaning over a chair, and I'm not even, you know, I try to be a manly dude, but man, I was literally chewing the corners off a pillow. This shit was hurting.
yeah,
And it's a lot of shading and all this stuff, and then the whole time, you know, he's still. I mean, that was probably what, your first year.
yeah. By that time, Scott had left the state, and we closed that shop down, and I had just decided it's the same difference to tattoo out of my apartment rather than paying rent, you know, and all this other shit. And I was a kid, I just didn't know. But yeah, it was an all day situation between trying to do a tattoo and then fight with some crazy
That's what I was
chick.
gonna say, man. We're in the bedroom, and he finally shuts the door, and he's, you know, not doing Dr. Phil stuff with his chick, you know, and
Insane.
telling her some crazy. And she's, how long is it gonna take? So he's like, it's kind of like giving a tattoo under fire, man. And I'm irritated. You know, normally I don't care. He's my bro. He can do handle his business how he wants with his girl. But man, when you're on your final last nerve of pain, and then there's a girl just screeching like a mouse in the other room, man. She's, how long is this gonna take? And blah blah blah. And then, you know, stuff I don't even know what they're arguing about. And he's tattooing, and then, you know, I could tell he's turning, and then saying shit that you don't find in a Hallmark card, and you know, and it just went on for like, God. So about 6 hours we were in there, and fine. We stopped. Where we stopped is where we stopped. It's on my back still, but I was at my threshold, and I was like, oh my God. And at that time, you told me that was the biggest tattoo you'd done. Like, it was across my whole back.
Uh-huh.
And it felt like, you know, for you, some of you that have had tattoos or haven't had tattoos, man, I've heard people say, man, I love the feeling of getting a tattoo. And to you people, I just think you need counseling, man, because I got a lot of ink, but there is nothing I like about getting a tattoo. I mean, other than it's probably the most time I get to spend with my little bro is when I'm in his chair. But man, I felt like somebody drugged me behind a truck. All that shading, and I felt like he just shit. Oh my God, I was in pain forever.
I mean, that's been like 16 years ago or so, and back then, you know, things were way different, like the coil machines and shit was just pounding, and then I didn't know. I was still trying to figure things out. Technically, I was still in apprentice stage. Didn't exactly know how to set up, you know, the machine the right way and all this, but just trying to figure it out. I was basically just kind of thrown to the wolves early.
Yeah,
so
that's kudos to family right here. Let me torture you for six and a half hours or whatever it was. So, and then Tony started apprenticing under Doug.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna shoot it straight, man. Like, you know, I gotta tell you, like, I've never seen. Of course, I know these two guys better than any tattoo guys in the world, but I have never seen a dude, especially coming from, you know, cutting skanky toenails and fingernails and cutting skin off and sanding scabs and, you know, doing all this stuff and trying to eat some stinky food during the day and in there with all these ladies and then all of a sudden, man, I'm following him on social media and stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, what happened? Like, this guy went from like dirty feet to like and nasty fingernails to like a portrait tattooist. And for those of you that don't know, like, there's a lot of people can draw some squiggles and do some shading and throw you some pretty good tattoos, but like, if you really study tattoos and stuff, like back in the day, like if you look at the old zoot suiters and people like that, like the Latinos especially, if you study the gang life and stuff like that, man, like they're big on portrait tattoos, and like their kids or their bros that they've lost or whatever, and I just watch, and I, just to be upfront about it, they got 2 styles, so there is different styles, right? You guys kind of do, like Doug doesn't like do certain things, and but man, I mean, what's it like to teach somebody, and then you're just looking at him going, because I honestly, for what Tony does, I think he does better than Doug in a lot of ways on what he does. Like there's no, and it didn't take like a normal tattoo journey. So like, what was it like going from? Well, what was it like first of all when you saw him put something on skin and you're like, oh damn.
Well, I think for any mentor or teacher or anything like that, I think it should be a moment of pride.
Right.
So I don't have, I feel like I did my job, but the thing is, Tony has a natural art ability that he's always had. I taught Tony how to use a different medium. That's it. And Tony always knew how to use, paint or fingernail polish and create art or, whatever, or draw AK-47s all over his bedroom.
Yeah, but listen, but here's the deal, man. So you guys can hit on any of this anytime. Knowing how to draw don't mean you can tattoo. Because I got one on my ribs right now, and I swear, this dude, man, I could commit a felony on him. Like, he had this best drawing, and I never let anybody. I only let one other person, and really, I had some old time Thai stuff done on my arm, and then I had my first tattoo was in Vegas. Other than that, Doug's always done my tattoos. Well, I traded out. I traded out a tattoo, man, for training somebody. And man, for 3 sessions, I'm like, when's this going to start looking like the piece of paper you drew, man?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, we'll get there, man. We just, another session or 2. And it wasn't like he's stringing me along for money, because it's trade, it's already set. Man, I finally, after about 4 sessions, I'm like, I'm pissed. Like, I don't know what hit me. But the 4th time I laid down on the tattoo deal bed, as soon as he started tattooing, I just got pissed. And it was over. I was like, I'm going to keep my end of the deal, man, but this is not what you drew. You suck as a tattoo artist. And so, just because he can draw, don't mean you can run a tattoo gun.
Yeah, and then that's where, well, first of all, the ribs on anybody is always an uncomfortable place for the client and the tattooer. A lot of tattooers, they opt out of taking on that project just because of the difficulty. But yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, Tony always had the natural art ability, and then I taught him, how to use a different medium, which is machine and needle. So no, I'm proud of Tony, and Tony came along in the time in tattooing where things are a lot easier. Technology is up, as to where I was like, if I didn't have a light box, like I was trying to trace something on a living room window with sunlight coming through, like all kinds of crazy shit, whatever you had to do. But
fish tank, aquarium light, you're up there trying to
anything that fucking glass with light coming through it.
Yeah.
But Tony, and we've talked about this before, but Tony's helped me grow as an artist also, though, because Tony has, like, as to where I'm starting to kind of, wind down and getting a little tired, and almost 20 years in, Tony's like in his, he's like priming right now, you know what I'm saying? So Tony is studying, he's doing all these things that every tattooer should be doing, but now it's my turn to kind of like pick Tony's fucking brain, and he helps me with techniques and texturing certain things and creating fur on animals, like all these things that he picked up on his own from studying and having the self-discipline that I don't have, like I said, just because I'm fucking winding down. So in a sense, Tony has made my job a lot easier and more enjoyable, as to where I was just like ready to just step away, not only because people these days are very hard to deal with, but just I wasn't finding the joy or passion in it anymore. And then now it's kind of come back around full circle to where I'm like learning new stuff. So I'm creating stuff that I've never done before, and it's kind of giving me a drive to keep going.
So when you put down the fingers, man, and the toes, and you thought you saw a piece of skin there, like what was you remember your first tattoo?
Yeah. He was on morphine.
You were on morphine?
He was.
Oh, he was on morphine?
He was on morphine.
Really?
Yeah. I did it in my bedroom. Whole back.
Like he was on
I
morphine?
don't think he was like a drug addict. It was like prescribed,
prescribed
morphine.
morphine.
And,
But he did that to get the tattoo, or he just did
Yeah.
that recreationally and then got
He
a
did
tattoo?
before the.
he just recently passed too.
Yeah, he passed.
He was a
Yeah.
good guy, Jim. He reminded me of an old like mob hitman.
Yeah.
Wore fucking bottle coat glasses. He was from like up north somewhere.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. So he
But
had
he
this
lived in
accent.
Missouri.
Yeah,
A good guy.
he
That's
was an
crazy.
awesome guy. But yeah,
So how'd that go?
like shit.
Yeah. Man.
Were you there?
It was, yeah.
I was there for some
You
of
were
it,
drunk.
hanging out with you guys.
So
probably.
it wasn't in the tattoo shop.
I think you were drunk.
I was.
Oh, man.
Bad. Then I freehanded a half sleeve on him across. Never freehands cross. He got big on one side and he keep building it up, and it was just a blob, like West Coast custom cross.
Maltese cross.
Huh. So, man, what is this is the kind of stuff that people, you think about. Well, first of all, let's keep educating people. So you hear these terms, man, that's a street tattoo, that's a house tattoo, that's a prison tattoo. So because of my background a little bit, I can notice, what I would say association tattoos or markings or tags or patches so explain for everybody, like, house tattoo. Apparently I've been a part of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then but that's not really what we consider a street tattoo. Like I've seen, or you hear jailhouse tattoo. Because I can tell you right now, when I've seen some what I consider jailhouse tattoos, they don't look like prison tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't know the difference or what they use, but for the people who don't know, even like me, like I pay a lot of attention to tattoos, even though even when I was just down in Mexico recently, like I told my fighters and stuff, I was like, man, just don't be flashy, don't be stupid, check in everything, don't stare too long. Yeah. But I said, man, there's always probably somebody watching you. I said, because you're going to stand out. And then we were in this part of town where, there was some shops and tattoo parlors and a place where like not just locals are going to go. Mm-hmm. So, and I told them, and of course I was being me and I was kind of on point, but it's like, people are watching there because tourists are going to come there, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the last times we were down there, and part of them got tattoos, and then another couple of them were getting their tattoos, and so we went and got some tortas at this place, and we're walking, and I'm kind of walking behind them watching everything, and they're just, they're acting like tourists, right? And I see somebody watching a little too much. Mm-hmm. And then there was a lot of tattoos on that street because there was 2 tattoo shops, But this dude, he had the wrong tattoos, man. Like, and I won't give any patches or whatever, but he had like an upside down cross right here, and he had some, and so now I know he's affiliated with something down there. There's no way. Plus, I told my guys, I said, watch this. I said, peek back around. I said, I guarantee he's on a cell phone right now, or he's starting to walk this way. And I looked back around the corner with one of my guys, and he was on a cell phone looking right down at our corner. And I said, see, I'm telling you, down here you don't mess. So I don't know. Of course, that's another country, but I didn't stare to see if his lines were clean and all that stuff. But his face and neck and everything was a canvas, and it was saying something that wasn't good. So what's the difference? Like that guy, they weren't really for decor. They weren't like these really cool tattoos. But so what's the? In fact, some of them I saw on like his neck and stuff, they didn't look clean. Of course, I was walking and I kept walking. But what's the difference between like a typical house tattoo and a street tattoo and a jailhouse tattoo and a prison tattoo? So like, what are they using? How's that work? And why is it that probably because they've been doing it longer in prison, or why when you see like a county tattoo or some shit, is it why are they better in prison when you're not even supposed to get tattoos? Like, how is all that? What's the difference, and how's that process?
Well, I've never been to prison. I just know from talking to people. But I mean, the difference is lack of knowledge and then equipment availability. So it's makeshift. You know, everything well in a penitentiary, things are a lot easier to get your hands on probably than county jail. So you know, in prison you've got people dropping stuff, you've got guards bringing stuff in. So in a penitentiary, you know, I've been told that they've actually been able to get their hands on actual tattoo ink, actual tattoo machines and stuff like that. But you know, it goes back to the old like guitar string tattoo, like, you know, sharpen it up with whatever you can find or whatever, and then or a staple. I've heard of all kinds of crazy shit, but I think it's just a lack of equipment. Like, you know, they're just doing what they can with what they got.
So what do they use for like ink inside?
I mean, again, I've been told, you know, like soot and, like, you know, like burning rubber or whatever, and then scraping it off and mixing it with shampoo and shit like that. I don't know the ingredients, but like something along those lines. I'm sure there's more that goes into it. Maybe they get their hands on a little bit of alcohol or something like that. I don't know.
What if you just like, can I, if we're on the inside, man, can I break this pen and use the ink in it?
People have.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I heard about that too. How they would melt it.
Yeah.
Like heat it up.
The ink? And then, so what's the difference between like the ink you're using in a tattoo shop and like maybe the ink in here?
Pigments, different type of chemicals and pigments.
Yeah, things that are mixed up. A lot of tattoo pigments are you know, start from powder. And
So before you get them or when you get them, they're in powder?
well, we buy them already, you know, pre-made and stuff like that.
okay.
But I remember coming up back in the day with some old school tattooers that would have bags of different colored pigments, you know, powder, and I you know, I think there was like some glycerin involved and some maybe a little bit of alcohol. Again, it's been almost 20 years. I don't really remember. That era of tattooing is almost lost, and to be honest with you. But yeah, you know, tattoo ink or pigment or whatever starts as a powder, and it's all mixed up and formulated.
So it basically dyes the skin, or it's under the skin?
It's under the skin.
Under 2 layers of your skin.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you go get a tattoo removed, they're just shedding skin.
It's like the laser.
The laser breaks it up,
Yeah.
and then the body processes it out. If I understand correctly, that's why different colors, you know, are easier to break up than others. What do they say? Black is easier to break up.
Black is easier.
Black isn't easier to break up. Things like that. But yeah, the laser basically like disintegrates it pretty much under the skin, blasts it out, I guess, breaks it up, and the body processes it out.
So I was researching some stuff for this podcast, man. There's some stuff all over the internet about in-home tattoo removal, man, like lemon juice and vinegar.
I heard about that,
Have you
too.
seen it? And they're like doing this time, you know, evolving thing, and I'm just like, man, there's no way that can be true.
I heard about that.
Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
It's basically like a heavy exfoliation, I guess.
Yeah.
You're exfoliating the skin.
Like acidic too.
Yeah, and it's acidic, but I mean, like, it's, you know, I got scars all over my arms. It didn't even require stitches, and the tattoo is gone out of it. So, you know, a tattoo doesn't lie as deep as people think. The reason it hurts like hell is because your nerves set right there on top of your
Man,
skin.
I know it's crazy. You're tattooing my armpit right here, and my ankle be going crazy. That's some weird,
Yeah.
weird
All
stuff.
nerves.
Wait till you
Yeah.
hit the anal optic
No,
nerve.
speaking of that, so I was thumbing through some social media stuff, and Tony, man, I know you're like hardcore and can chew on toenails and stuff like that to make a living, but
Damn.
man, what's this picture I saw? You're all up in someone's butt, like your face is like right here,
Jory.
and their butt.
That's
right
our brother.
What's up?
That's Jory. He got a taint tattoo.
That's our brother.
No way.
Yeah. That's our brother.
What?
Yeah.
What? So do you think that
Jory's one of a kind.
I know, man. I
We
met
love
that
Jory.
dude. But so you think like dirty toes helped you get into somebody's butt? Like, how do you just do that?
Some people's taints are cleaner than some people's toes.
That is true.
Oh, Lord,
Jory's
Lord.
taint is so clean, bro. So clean. That thing is clean.
Are you guys like swapping cards of February 14th now? Valentine's Day? So what could possibly be tattooed there?
Well,
Remember the old Batman, like, pew, pow?
Yeah.
comic book pal.
Yeah, Jory got pow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird to tattoo that area too because
Oh.
there's a line that goes from your butthole to your ball sack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like when you tattoo it, just like flicks back.
Yeah, that's where you get sewed up. Tony specializes in exotic tattoos.
No, I do
He
not.
also tattooed. So far, it's only been on men. He tattooed the Gucci G's on one of our buddies' nut sacks.
Billy
Yeah.
Ridenour.
Yeah.
How the heck?
Well, the story was he wanted to get his wife something for Christmas, so he got her a Gucci bag.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, tattooed a Gucci logo on his
I
nutsack.
swear, these are just, we just opened these. There ain't nothing in them, man. Straight good tobacco.
His wife's in there while he's getting a tattoo and just joking around. You know, Tony's like, "Help me stretch the skin." She's like, "I don't touch that thing." I was like, "Damn, bro."
So, man, I mean, how does that even? How do you even do that, bro? That's crazy.
I gotta pay my mortgage, man.
Yeah.
I gotta do.
It first starts with having dumbass friends.
Yeah,
It starts there.
it does.
I'm someone's dumbass friend, so
So am I.
yeah, he's one of my dumbass
You
friends.
bitch.
So, okay, so what's the most uncomfortable tattoo you've ever done?
Jory's. Just because, dude, like
Would it
I gotta-
been less comfortable if you knew him? And was he like looking back at you and stuff over his shoulder and like
No,
staring
because-
at you?
no,
or-
No,
was
he
it-
was like holding his legs up, like,
yeah,
like he was in
and, like,
stirrups.
you know how I would like have to rest my pinky to do like lines, right? Well, I'm resting. So how do you do this? Because the pinky is too, for that area. So I have to do this, and this is on his like the side,
Mhm.
and like how you use ointment.
Mhm.
Well, like it slipped in my knuckle.
Went in his bunghole.
Yes, and he goes, "Oh, it feels good." And I'm like, "Hell no, bro."
Man.
Oh Lord! So did you make eye contact
No,
right then?
I don't know. It
Did
was
you
weird.
stop? Was it?
No,
like,
I just kept going. I just looked
Did
down.
you take a moment?
That sounds non-consensual. I don't know. When you say most uncomfortable tattoo, the first thing I think of is a fucking just a hard to deal with client.
Oh,
That's
hard to
what's
deal with
uncomfortable.
client? Oh, there's a lot.
That's what's uncomfortable. And I've gotten to the point now to where if I even start getting vibes off the client, like through text or messenger or anything
Bye.
like that, I'm just like, yeah, just because if they're complicated trying to consult over the tattoo, then they're going to be 10 times more complicated during the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that if I could stress anything to a client is do not create any weird tension between you and your artist, because you're gonna have to sit there in basically an intimate setting for hours, and if the tattooer doesn't want to be there, then he's gonna do his best to probably get in and out of there, which is not always a good thing. And so that's entitled people, complicated people, like people that just don't understand, that's like somebody taking a picture of a certain haircut, but it's into the barber and it's like, oh, this is, it's like, well, you can get that haircut, but that doesn't fit your head. You're not going to look like that, And so you try to explain these things to people and it's just like, they don't understand. So that's an uncomfortable tattoo.
Okay, so what's the most? I mean, I don't know how you top the taint, man. I don't know how you top that. Like, have you had? So I've heard of people like had some like girls having stuff on their vajay down there, butterflies, and one had a gremlin, and I've heard of different things. Like, so have you had to do anything like that? Like
Nope.
that? You never done?
I haven't.
So you'd rather like a guy's taint's better than a girl
I don't know.
by choice?
I've been pretty close to that area. I got asked if I would actually like tattoo the actual lips down there. She wanted flames, and this is like back in 2007, I think.
What?
And I was like, no. it was the very first shop I ever worked at. Whenever I moved to Tulsa, outside of the shop that I learned in, and it was chaos in that place. And the owner of that place was like a very high rank, involvement with the prison gang and stuff like that. So there's all kinds of chaos coming in and out of there. And I just pointed her his direction. And back then, most like 90% of tattoo shops, actually maybe 100% of them were usually located right next door to a bar because of the Oklahoma regulations wouldn't allow us to be within so many feet of a church, a school, a playground, like all this crazy shit. Like we were red dots on the internet, and so all tattoo shops basically ended up next to fucking bars. So I go to the bar and drink, and I come over a couple hours later, and Kevin's just buried in this chick tattooing her, and I'm like, and I look in there to see what's going on, and he's just got flames like from the taint up this girl's like pubic bone, and I'm just like, that's exactly why I didn't want to do it.
That kind of kills it too. I don't want to see that.
It was just,
I would do it if someone gave me $5,000.
yeah, if the money's right, but back then people didn't want to pay $50.
I don't think
like,
I still don't
even
think
think
that's
Kevin charged her.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, she was definitely on another vibe. I think she mentioned that she was, like just something I didn't want to be involved with.
So, real fast, gonna hit some sponsors, man. Check out fighterschance.org. Man, they're helping people in recovery and stay clean, everything else, and people that really want to make a difference and stay out of the pen and not drag chains and stuff. So through fighting and mentorship and stuff at WCF Training Center in Tulsa, Oklahoma, training facility. Also, Mom's Family Diner, man. Appreciate them throwing down, helping the show here. No Bull Real Talk. 41st and Mingo, 52nd and Yale, and Bixby, Oklahoma. If you like home-cooked food, that's the place, man. Their breakfasts are legit. My daughter and I eat there all the time. Primo Movers, good dude. He's a part of the Fighter's Chance program and a big supporter of that. It's a moving company. ViciousAthlete.com. Awesome fight and athletic tape right here. It's printed on there. I guess you get to choose, man, like Vicious Athlete or Vicious Fighter for fight tape and athletic tape. And then we got Next Gen X behind me. Man, a great family-owned facility in Broken Arrow in Tulsa. In fact, this elderberry right here, man, I know every place has got it. It's kind of the cool thing, hip thing now, but this stuff, man, I don't care. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to snort it or nothing, but, man, this stuff is so good. Like, I put it in smoothies. My daughter and I, anytime my daughter doesn't start feeling right, my mom, I got to take care of Mom. She's like 73 now, and so you got to take care of your kids and your mom, and I suggest if you love those two kinds of people, your kids and your mom, you should get some of this right here, man. Elderberry, they make it, they compound it. There ain't no extra bull crap in there. So no bull, real talk right here. This stuff's good. It's nextgenx.com. Hit them guys up. So, what is the hardest part? And maybe it's different for both of you. The hardest part of the body to tattoo.
The taint.
Man, all his answers going to come back to the taint. What's the hardest for the tattoo artist, not the person?
Well, stomachs can be a pain.
Stomach, yeah.
Ribs and stomach areas probably pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how often does somebody come in, man, and they just say, "Hey, here's what I want, run with it"? And isn't that the best way to do, you guys? A real tattoo artist, right? You just say, let you do you, and just say, here's what I want.
I love that.
And then, right? And then just let you run with it.
Yeah. I get it quite a bit. Actually.
That's kind of the direction that our shop has gone,
Yeah,
though.
our
People
shop is
already
like
kind of understand that they're going to get that when they try to book with us. Like, we're like, yeah, we got your idea, but we're gonna have to design it up.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll come in and want crazy stuff, and I'll change it. Nope.
Like in the middle of the tattoo, and not tell them.
No, I'll tell them like a day, 2 days ahead. Like, hey, we're gonna do it. Like he wanted what did he want? An Indian guy, and I was like, no, we're doing a skull and a snake.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He got a skull.
How's the Indian dude even close to a skull and
And he
snake?
liked it, so I was like, yeah. I know. This dude wanted on the stomach, Brock Martin. He wanted a coffin with a skeleton in it, and then like what are those called? Sharubs?
Like a praying hand?
The little baby angels.
Oh, like
How
a
you say it?
cherub? Cherub?
Is that how you say it?
Cherub?
What?
Cherub? A cherub angel? A cherub?
Cherub. Yeah.
Cherub.
Anyways, he wanted that, and I said, no, man, we're going to do Virgin Mary and 2 doves.
Yeah, and that came out way sicker.
Yeah. That's what that was.
But that's totally opposite of what they both asked for.
Yeah.
Like a flip.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get like a big ass rosary going across like most of my torso, and then Coulter, who's actually one of the tattooers that is one of the 4 at our shop, I get to his place and he's like, I designed this up, and it's like this skull, this skeleton hand holding a rosary with the crucifix like down, a complete, like not any, but I was like, yeah, that's sick, I'd rather have that, let's do that.
Oh Lord, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just
So
better to
you
trust
guys
the
do
artist.
some like Zen
You just
tattoo weird stuff, man. Like you just like you just think you want that. Here's what you really want.
You've got to trust the artist is really.
Yeah, but it's not even the picture they asked for. Like I asked for a picture of my mom on my shoulder, and you paint your girlfriend's face on there.
It's Chuck Norris.
Or Chuck Norris. That's your mom if she did karate. We're gonna put Chuck Norris on there.
Yeah, you could. Chuck Norris goes on everything.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, Tony, do you think? Because let me just put it this way. Let's start here first, because I thought about this for weeks. So, every kind of person gets in your chair, man. Like every kind of person is allowed to land in your chair. Yeah. Have you ever had people that made you feel uneasy?
Oh yeah.
Spiritually or whatever, you just didn't get a good vibe from them?
Yeah.
What's that like having to work on somebody? Because I know, like for me, I just get vibes from people, and I think the way if you're around different cultures and different religions and different like subgroups of society, you learn more about people. And sometimes, man, people, I'm just like, man, I just don't want to be around that person. So I
tough it out, and I just know what I gotta pay bills, and then I just know that I'll never book them again. That'll be the last time.
You ever had some crazy voodoo, weird people in your? Because here's the other thing too. Is about tattoo shops. I think one of the reasons tattoo shops have such weird persona over the time is, of course, it used to be pirates and sailors, and then gang members, and then bikers, but man, you still walk into a lot of tattoo shops, and all you see is black and skulls and upside down crosses and some people with a bone through their forehead and like so. Why is it? I mean, you never walk in too many places. Now, there's some in Vegas and stuff where you walk in and you'll see some nice decor and some good coloring, but then you'll go into one guy's booth and he's got like these upside down skulls and stuff. Like, why is all that attached to it?
I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with just most artists in general are just such free spirits. I mean, you typically don't find a football coach who enjoys painting a painting. You know what I'm saying? So like it just kind of goes hand in hand with just the freedom, you know, of and just some artists. I mean, they really do see things, you know, a certain kind of way or fall into the darker direction or whatever. You know, freedom. It's because in a tattoo shop you can express yourself any way you want. There's people that fall back into the darker side of things that have a 9 to 5 and wear a suit every day, but they can't hang that stuff up in their corporate office. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so the reason probably that you see a lot of expressive things in a tattoo shop is because that's part of being
Free.
Yeah, part of being an artist and just part of not having to conform to everyday expectations and society and all that shit.
I mean, Doug and I, you and I have talked a lot about people and situations, and I mean, Doug's lived with me, and we've been through a lot together. But I feel like sometimes, and this is people in general, especially now, people are just lost, man. They're just fronting all kinds of stuff or trying to throw out an image that they couldn't live that image if they tried, but they can dress the part. Yep. You feel like a lot of those people in the tattoo shops when you travel across the country that they're just trying to trying to keep up an image, or they're just trying to show out or make their booth look cool? Or, I mean, how do you think that they're really, that the girl in the back corner back there that's dressed in a black dress and she wants you to come get tattooed? You mean you think she's got a freaking helter skelter thing really at home and she's worshiping that? I mean,
some do. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or do you think a lot of them are just trying to keep up with the tattoo image and be cool?
No, some do. Some that have a booth like that. I mean, I've seen some houses that were like set up, I mean, very, very, very expensive, like Gothic furniture. Like even the house they lived in was like old Victorian style home, original wood floors from the early 1900s, and their whole house was like that. It doesn't mean that they're evil, or doesn't, mean that they're a bad person. It's just what, that's just what they're attracted to, and stuff like that. But like they say, you got to be careful who you even allow into your home.
Yeah.
So imagine sitting there with your hands on somebody for
or
hours
the
at a
other
time.
side of it, man, like I couldn't let somebody like that put ink on me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I would feel it. Like I could. I mean, I just think that's too. Like you guys use the word intimate, but man, I just couldn't be with somebody that's like,
You really
working
pick
there,
up.
trying to. She's in the back room, or he's in the back room working the Ouija board to figure out what tattoo they're going to give me, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I couldn't do that.
Consultation weeds a lot of that out.
Yeah. It does.
You can pick up on somebody's attitude, demeanor,
Within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, while you're talking to them, if this is somebody that you want to sit down with, for a whole day or a half day or whatever. And I will say this, especially now, like, I mean, probably 99% of our clientele is great people, legit people, awesome people, regular people.
Well, it's becoming more okay.
More
like,
lenient? Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, I see everything, like anesthesiologists, like
Attorneys,
I had a car
doctors.
wreck not too long ago, and man, the anesthesiologist, he was a medic in the military, and then he did life flight and all that stuff, and then he, kept graduating up and up, and anyway, he had tattoos, and you don't really think of that. And then there's a ton of law enforcement now where it used to be just wrong. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And you go down to the courthouse, and man, you'll see an attorney down there with a tattoo, and then the guy dragging chains he's going to meet in court, of course, he's blasted, and and then the deputy at the deal. I mean, so I know we've become very lax as a society in everything. Is it becoming okay? I mean, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's getting more lenient for sure.
We have a huge, I would honestly, I feel comfortable saying that our shop, and this really stemmed from Tony, but most of Tulsa County law enforcement and first responders come to us. Of course, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Well, that's probably too, though, because of the trust.
Well, we've developed, what it is one of them came, one of them took a chance, and first responders really don't care. They're not as
Clicky.
high risk
I
of
see.
running into somebody in a tattoo shop as an arresting officer or somebody who's put somebody in a penitentiary, right? So once word gets out, it's like, hey, this is a safe place. These guys are pro. Because
you're not very tactical, man, getting your taint done.
Listen, when these guys, some of these law enforcement guys are crazier than we are.
Oh, I get
They're
it.
regular people.
Yeah.
They like to cut up, have fun, have some drinks and stuff like that. But I feel safe saying that we've definitely become like a safe place for those guys to come feel normal, enjoy themselves, and get tattoos, because if there's any place that you're liable to run into somebody that you fucking arrested, a tattoo shop is a really good place.
Yeah, I would say so. And I got a lot of brothers and sisters in law enforcement and stuff. And the other thing, I mean, you got to do a good job, but I think if they feel like not just safe, I didn't think about that aspect, which I should have, but I just think if they know that if their fellow brothers and sisters are going there and they do a good job, then they're going to go there. That's a very tight-knit group of people. Firefighters the same way, Of course, they're not going to run into some bad dudes probably that got mad because they put their house fire out. But, they probably – it's a click thing, a real big click thing. And so this is what's crazy too. So like you guys stay backed up now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see you guys all the time on social media, man. Books are closed.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's crazy. Like that's cool, but that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the longest you've been booked out?
A year and a half.
Yeah.
I'll never
Oh
do
my
that again.
gosh.
Never again.
Yeah.
Because you don't get any freedom. You don't get.
Right.
You can't have any sick days. You know. You can't take a vacation.
Well, and things happen on our end too. And then if somebody's been waiting 6, 8, 9 months, and
they look forward to it.
Yeah.
and they've probably taken off, and stuff like that, and it's like, God forbid, you got to tell them, hey, I know you've been waiting. I'm sorry. Something happened that's out of my control. And some people are like, man, I hope everything's all right. Let me know. We'll get it rescheduled. Some people just fucking come unglued. And that's where it's just like, hey, see ya.
Yeah, never booking you again.
Yeah.
Huh. So, look, Tony, do you think that tattooing changed you as a person?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when you started, I mean, of course, now you got a couple babies and a wife, but
when I did nails, I mean, everyone was right, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
When I tattooing, like, fuck no, I'm not dealing with you.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do that when I was doing nails.
Well, part of that was probably because you're working for your family, right? And the culture, like you got to do
and
it.
Other nail shops I've been to, I couldn't just. They're always right,
The employer or
No,
the people?
the clients.
Oh yeah.
And tattooing, so much freedom. With tattooing, yeah, it changed me as a person, like where I don't have to put up with people.
It just goes back to that freedom that I was talking about. Like it's.
So, I haven't been able to watch you close enough because you don't like me enough to hang out much. But with Doug, I've watched him change, man. Like mentally, intellectually, who he associates with, what he thinks a good time is, who he wants to hang out with, and man, I'm so proud of him now. But man, he's like on a whole nother level spiritually. There were times, man, I honestly thought I was gonna lose him, man, either to chains and go to prison or hanging with some wrong people and visiting him out of the country, and just, a little bit of your exploration mindset was you got a little stupid sometimes.
Yeah.
But like what's that? I'm telling you, man, we just had this talk within the week about if people really knew him and the courtrooms we sat in and the friends he's had, or so-called friends, and things he used to call fun, and the discussions. Sometimes, of course, we love people. You kind of just, you take some of the shit they say and you go, ooh, well, we got to try to get away from that. But like where you're at now, man, it's touches me a little bit because you're like, you're grounded, man. You're you've come full circle.
Yeah.
How explain some of that, like from where you were just literally every day. Basically, you've never been incarcerated, but you had that mindset. You're like a surfer, maybe. Like, man, I'm just gonna ride the wave today, see what happens, and when I'm done riding the waves, that's about as far as I'm gonna plan, and then we'll see what happens after that. And then if I don't wake up tomorrow, well, man, I had a good day at the beach.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of where you were to now. So, and just talk about how you've evolved and how that's kind of come to be, because you guys have had, thousands of people between the two of you come through, and some of what influences you is what comes through your shop, the conversations you have every day,
right?
So like, how's that come to be? Because I don't think you're one of the chosen, bro. Like, not very many tattoo people that have been in the tattoo business as long as you shed all that. Like, if you were a snake, man, you just shed your skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're this whole new deal. Mindset, focus is different. So how did that all come to be when you're still out doing the same things, and now you're this new dude that I've always prayed you'd be?
Well, I think it's the difference between living for yourself and then now I live for other people. I live for, first of all, my kids, but then whoever I can help. I get a a lot of enjoyment out of giving and helping, compared to maybe in the past. It was just very selfish mentality, and really didn't care who was in my path as long as I got whatever I wanted type deal. I think that all started, I mean, I've been that way since I was a kid. I remember sitting in class in elementary school thinking, this teacher's not a smart person, but my mom had me when she was older, like 39. I was born in 85 and she was born in 1946. So, and she was a single mom, so I was raised with different, I would say, like morals and values, with my mom being the age of a lot of my friends' grandparents. So I definitely have always had my mom's words and wisdom like in the back of my mind, but then losing her at 20 years old. And then that's also whenever I was in my apprenticeship, and then, having a BMX and a motocross background, just kind of that like real fast living kind of just, just like any other extreme sport athlete and stuff like that. But and like you said, it's just getting with the wrong people, and then influence and stuff. But even being around the wrong people, I was never like technically a bad person. I may have done things that I probably wouldn't have done if I wasn't around them, but I don't think I would have never considered myself a bad person. But now it's just like, maybe it's just age, maybe I'm getting older, but it's like, I don't want to see my kids go out of the country with fucking, white collar criminals. I don't want to see my kids fucking have to go to, court every single month for a year straight, looking at,
Right.
heavy violent time in the penitentiary and shit like that. So I don't know, man. I think I don't know. I've really just especially like post COVID, I think a lot of people just got their eyes opened up. I think a lot of things are too heavy for a lot of people. Suicide's up. I had a real good friend of mine, Kurt Woody, commit suicide, and just the morning of that situation, he had booked 2 appointments with me, gave me money, dropped deposits, and decided he didn't want to be here by that evening. So it's just, man, I don't know. It's really hard to explain, or maybe I haven't sat down and thought about it enough to be able to sit down and put it into words. But you can just, God will give you 2 directions to go. You always have free will, so it's just up to you. Tony's a perfect example. Me and Tony used to do a lot of running around, and he got his wife and he's got his kids, and so now Tony's a full-blown family man, you know what I mean? And so it's just, I think it just comes with age.
No. No.
Was you gonna hug me?
No, I was flexing, bro.
I don't know what you're flexing.
Yeah, because like I've been like, we won't go through the whole, I don't know how many years, but I'll dab in and out of like your social world, and anytime I ever dipped into Doug's social world, it never really went good, other than just he and I. Like, we live together, no problems. We go to dinner, we can go have a drink together, no problems. But man, anytime, and we've talked about this a lot, but it's crazy, like Doug, if you could be popular in a city, like Doug is known because I guess you were out all the time. Like, I always talk about, if I had a Doug marketing my business stuff, man, the gym would be full, and like there'd be a bunch of tater heads and knuckleheads in here probably, but like he's just like that guy. And like, he and I have met before, just to have a drink, and then people coming up and oh man, there's Doug, and they're talking, and then it's like everybody knows Doug Crane, man, and then there's been times where, like, he'd always holler at, well, I know it wasn't always, but he'd holler at me, hey, a bunch of us are going out, and it always seemed like a competition, man. I've said this over the years, like, if Doug and I are at the same table and we're talking, man, there's guys that are always trying to one-up us or one-up me, or, well, I've known, and it's crazy, like, you have, and maybe Tony can explain, like, what is it about Doug that, like, why he's like a magnet of people, man. You ever notice that?
Yeah,
and it could be a dude with a 1% patch on his neck, or some dude with a white collar and a Catholic rosary in his hand.
You attract everybody.
I know. And
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with going back to just being me always. You know, if I sit down with a one percenter, or for example, like you just said, I don't sit there and try to tell them all the bad things that I've been through, or the bad things that I've done, or how tough I am, or, you know, let's talk about this bar fight, or, you know, that stupid shit. Like, or I could sit down with somebody, you know, in the music industry, or somebody that I watched on TV that I looked up to riding dirt bikes, you know, and I meet them later on down the road in life and become friends with them. And you know, what I've found is these people, and, you know, myself included, if I'm looked at like that, like, I just want to talk about normal shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about what I do all day for work, or, you know, we don't have to sit down and discuss like how your fucking week went at the X Games, or, you know, or
Right.
you're a fucking one percenter fucking being tailed by the feds or some shit. Like, it's just, and I talk to everybody the same. It doesn't matter if you're a Tulsa detective or a DEA agent, or if you're a fucking, you know,
Sometimes you treat me bad.
you're different.
he does treat friends and family bad sometimes, man. That's just bad. That's
Friends
shame
and
on you.
family get put on the back burner.
They do.
Just normal. I think people pick up on just being
But
real.
So it's real hard to look at yourself. That's real hard to do. So like I'm taken as really brash, and like I don't come off right, and I'm compared to you guys, I'm really antisocial. But like for me, it's kind of done the opposite. Like me just not taking any shit. You know, if you're talking about stupid shit, I'm gonna walk on. For me, being real or trying to be real, it's repulsive to people. And for you talking about being real, it's made you, and like you guys have a huge following, especially in Oklahoma. Like,
Well, I'm an empath, so even if you're not looking for empathy, I pick up on it, and I put myself in your shoes while you may not even realize that you're explaining these things to me, and then I respond with actual information instead of you're sitting here telling me, you know, about a hard time in life that you went through. And some people they're not even aware, they don't even realize that their response comes with, well, this is what I went through. No, you're supposed to be an ear for this person right now, because and that's also controlling the conversation without leading the conversation. You know what I mean? You know, if somebody starts out by telling you intimate information or personal information, or, you know, pouring their heart out to you, or whatever the case may be, they don't want to hear about. It's not your time
not
to
a
talk.
one-upper deal.
No, and I've never been that way. And so,
but do you think you'd have been as cool? Do you think you would have guys would have had the following that you two have if you weren't doing tattoos?
No.
I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know what the hell I'd be doing.
So you know, if you'd opened a Vietnamese restaurant, you know, or you'd
I'll bust my ass to get people to notice that, you know, this business is here.
right.
Yeah, I think every business.
So how is your culture? So like, you're not blasted with a lot of visible ink. You have tattoos?
I do. I have my back, and I used to have a under the boob tattoo. No, it was a
tit
rib
covers
tattoo.
it now, yeah.
And I got fat, and it went over to my under boob.
So your tattoo,
He's got to roll the
your
tit up to
tattoo
see
floated. So you go back to Vietnam. You go back there,
I do.
and I know from me traveling to other countries, especially Asian countries, bro, tattoos aren't like here.
No.
It's still kind of.
No, Vietnam is more open now.
Is it?
Yeah. It's really open.
They're so weird in Japan, ain't they? It's some
Oh
like
yeah,
bathhouses.
Japan and a lot of China, South Korea.
Yeah, Vietnam's open now.
Thailand's there's a lot more in Thailand. You know, Mexico's kind of like here, but I mean, a lot of the I didn't know about like a lot of the Philippines, Vietnam, like that culture has always been not maybe as tight as maybe Japan, but I mean as because there's still a lot of crime in Vietnam and the Philippines, like I mean a ton, organized crime, everything else. But is it just because America and Europe and stuff have an influence around the world? I mean, what's changed the Vietnamese or the Asian culture that not Asians here, not Vietnamese or Hmong here, but over there. Like if you're blasted like Doug, would you still be accepted and looked at in Vietnam like
Oh, you'll be looked at.
differently?
Yeah, you'll be looked at differently.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They thought I was famous in the Philippines because I was a white dude,
Right.
You're a porn star.
kind of stocky, covered in tattoos. And so I got asked a lot, like, "Are you a movie star?" And I was like, "Fuck no. I'm just over here with some other dumbasses."
Yeah, boy, he was. And that going back to that, like, there's been just times where, man, one night he called, and then I didn't go, and I was gonna go, and then I got a call later on, man. Somebody hit somebody with a pool stick, and this thing's broke out over a girl getting knocked in the floor or something, and then. Yeah, there's just been all these times. Yeah, it's crazy. That turned into a major ordeal over a couple of years, and shed some people that we thought were close, and they showed their colors. And then, the reason you're in the Philippines, I went to a cookout over there one time, and I thought I was going to throw a barbecue grill on top of that piece of crap. And I was and Doug's like, man, lay off of him, lay off of him. He's talking to the guy about lay off me, and he just wouldn't shut up. There's another example of somebody trying to be tough around you and I.
Yeah.
And I just don't I don't care about all that, man. And then every time I dipped in around that guy, I was just like, like you were talking about. He's always wanted to be a one-upper, and he always wanted to do this. And then, and now he's probably got a black sack over his head hanging somewhere in some closet being fed mashed potatoes. But
Some of those guys have reached out to me as recent as like 2 months ago, and I heard that he's in California. I heard he's out and free. I don't know, but
I don't know, but it's just crazy, the gauntlet. Like, people don't understand, like, and I don't know if it's just so I have to believe that, especially you, because I don't know a lot of your social, but like, it had to be that you guys are doing tattoos that brought this array of crazy people and stories. Like,
oh yeah, it really all stems from tattoos. I mean, oddly enough, the facility we're in right now, which is your gym and stuff like that, used to be the tattoo shop that I worked in 2009, 2010, that guy that we're talking about owned, and there was just being money funneled through here. I mean, just right out there in those halls, like, we had feds taking pictures through the glass back then, whenever that guy owned this place, and it was a bunch of crazy shit. But it all stemmed from tattoos. I met him from tattooing. He like I said, he was a white collar criminal from California. I don't know how he ended up in Oklahoma, but he capitalized on the situation going on in Oklahoma. A tattooer who's he's dead now, but ended up in this guy's pockets, and he took the tattoo shop and took the name, took the whole business, opened up tattoo shop on 71st Memorial, and then that's where I met him, and it just went from there.
It's crazy, man. Would you, looking back, would either one of you, if you could do anything, like a lawyer, doctor, cop, fireman, what was there anything else you would have done if you wouldn't go back to your 20 or 21 and you could do it over? What would you do anything different?
Yeah, maybe.
This guy.
I wouldn't be friends with your dumbass.
Whatever.
If we were talking about like corporate setting, I feel like I've always had an attraction to law, especially within the past 5 years. I'll be 38 next month, but as recent as 5-6 years ago, I even talked about going back to school, and I think that being railroaded in the court system and lied on, and looking at losing 8 to 9 years of my life for something I didn't do, really opened my eyes to how corrupt, but like the system is just so fucking flawed, and if you don't have the money or the means,
It's true.
you are fucked. You're fucked, and that's bullshit. The law is the law. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And even in a courtroom, you have people lying to you. You have people telling you that you can't speak up and that you can't say things, and no, it's all bullshit, and it's all wrong.
And that would inspire. So you're talking about you may have been an attorney or something, you think?
I still have a draw to that, yeah, and understanding, and the more that I dig into things and research for myself, and the more that I see, how much we're lied to, I just had a recent child support situation that I had to deal with the situation that I was being lied to. And once I got all my ducks in a row and did my research and figured things out and got these people back on the phone, had them jammed up in a corner, had the state of Oklahoma sending me money back from an account that they levied. They don't do that. It's like the IRS sending you money back. They take that money. They're not sending you money back. The state, the government, unless they know they're 150% in the wrong. You know what I mean? And so it's really sad, and it's sickening to see how the system thrives on the poor and middle class.
I have that talk a lot with people, and of all levels too, man. From because with the nonprofit of Fighters Chance, like I've got guys that, and that's where people think there's a big stigmatism, which I understand you have to guard yourself, but going back to if a guy's blasted with tattoos, like he's going to be profiled. And I know that. What's funny is, I've had credentials in law enforcement and civilian this and done that. And I know how people even look at, I'm like, man, I'm totally not that guy. But also people that have done time. Like I've noticed that, and I'm about to do a whole bunch of stuff. We get the funding in a Fighter's Chance. We're going to go in and interview people and do things and do some things with some inmate. But I've told people, man, there's world champions dragging chains right now, but and a lot of it, they didn't have mentorship, like we talked about. They just got around the wrong people, and they fired the wrong shot, and that I mean that just happened, But that said, man, I don't really feel that every single situation really is gone through the system individually and fairly. Like, it's supposed to be judged by your peers, and I've seen juries that a lot of them don't look like the people that I know. You know what I'm saying? And I do think the system's broken, but so many times, and not to get off in this tunnel rat, but man, people put cops in the same category as the legal system,
right?
And what they don't really think about is, because I 100%, like I still, with all the drama, I still think that 98% of all cops are just good dads, husbands.
Yeah,
they're good people, right?
They are,
and those are my brothers and sisters. But like we talked about this, if they buried me tomorrow, there's going to be some weird people at my funeral. Yeah, I'm going to have some of the best Tulsa cops that have ever been at my funeral, and there's going to be some shady looking dudes at my funeral. But people put the two together. Yeah. Like, police don't make laws. No. And police, all they do is enforce what's out there, and where the shit ones come from is where they go beyond that. Right. But it's once you go into the court system, man, it's just crazy. And nobody holds attorneys accountable. Right. And then people say, oh, the Able Commission does. I'm like, no. Like, and I know, because I've chased fugitives and I've caught and I honestly know 100%. Yeah, everybody's got a story, but an attorney will say, "Hey, don't worry, I'll make an appearance for you. Or I'll talk to the judge. You don't have to show up. We'll get a continuance or whatever." And then they take so many, and they don't do it. And then this guy's got a warrant, and then now his thing's revoked, and now he's about to drag chains again. And so the system is messed up, man. Right. And I throw all that out there because I just think I've got so many people I love in law enforcement, brothers and sisters, that part of the anger right now and the free ride isn't just about bad policing. It's because they see the people in law enforcement as part of the jacked up system.
It's a lack of understanding,
and they're not, man. It's once you walk in that courtroom, now that's the system.
Yeah, that's the system. The police are not the system. And I think that's why I'm so far on the other side of the fence now, is because once I got to know these guys on a personal level, then I realized, like, cops don't wake up and go, oh, I'm going to get somebody's ass today. They could care less. They're just out patrolling, doing their job. People forget, like, you called in, or your neighbor called in. Like, they didn't just pull up on you, and something is clearly going on. All they're trying to do is get to the bottom of it and stuff like that. But depending on the situation, tensions run high and stuff like that. But police are trained to take control of the situation, and I think a lot of people mistake that for who do you think you are? Well, first of all, I'm ensuring my safety and the safety of everybody around me and the safety of my partner, because it's a fucking chaotic scene and a lot of people just...
Man, and I've been there.
It's a whole deal,
and being
man.
a 20-some year, person of fighting and training fighters and doing now, out of the country, training some special law enforcement agencies and bodyguard. Like, I hear people all the time who've never hit a punching bag, who've never grappled, who've never done jiu-jitsu, anything else, and they're like, man, a cop should be able to take a guy down and control him, and there was 3 guys on him, and there was no reason to... And I was like, man, I remember my very first fight on duty, and it was like a 140-pound dude. He'd been on meth and smoking or sniffing gold paint. He had it all over him, pissed himself and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, I was a rookie, and my trainer, I won't mention his name and call him out, but him and this other dude who were more than qualified to help me, they're like, yeah, Mr. Blacklock here would like to talk to you. And of course he had piss all over me. Man, I tried to put a handcuff on that dude, and I had to throw an ogoshi. I threw him down. He did a push-up with me on his back. And so now, I've had some little dude, 145 pounds, whacked out of his mind,
Powered by meth.
and I can tell powered by meth and gold paint. And I'm like, and so if Dr. Phil was there with 2 ninjas, they'd have still had to slam him and do everything they could to get handcuffs on him. And I don't think people they don't understand that, man.
And
they don't get it.
Luckily, I don't have to walk in those guys' shoes and deal with that, because that's a tough deal.
I don't think I can do it.
I think a lot of understanding law enforcement too is like, once you take responsibility for your own actions, then you start to realize that they're not out to get you. I think once, if you're a dumbass and it's everybody's fault but yours in every aspect of life, it's your fault. It's always the cop's fault. It's the cop's fault you're doing 80 down the fucking freeway and got pulled over. You know what I mean?
With a pound in the back with an AR.
That's another, yeah, exactly. Shit, and I get pulled over, and I drive big trucks, and the windows are always tinted. I don't give a fuck if it's -10 or fucking 120 outside. All 4 of my windows come down, because first and foremost, I want to let that guy know that he's in no danger. I'm no threat. If there are people in my back seat, you can clearly see them, which 9 times out of 10 there's not. But it's like, hey, I try to have my license and my insurance out before he even gets to the window. Yeah. When I pulled you over, hell yeah, I'm fucking speeding. Was you wearing your seatbelt? No.
I got pulled over. I had to take a shit. Yeah.
What?
I got pulled over. I told him, dude. He said, "Why are you speeding?" I got a shit.
Oh, Tony got nervous.
No,
You got
I had a
nervous?
shit.
Did
But
you
no,
shit your
I
pants?
don't roll all my windows down, because if my truck isn't tinted.
Oh yeah, well, as long as they
I
can
do
see.
have my insurance and my license ready though before he gets to the.
Yeah, but it's
Do you
just,
feel people look at you different? Like, I hear a lot of this about this new Asian. Do you think that law enforcement looks at you different because you're Asian?
No.
No?
No.
no.
So, what would you do anything different than tattooing if you could?
No. Nope. I love tattooing.
He went on casting couch once.
I like it.
You liked it?
Oh man. It's called Indiana Jones.
Hey, you try it out.
So
Indiana
your
Jones.
wife's from Vietnam,
Yes.
and so you met her. Did they do arranged stuff in Vietnam, or did you just
Yeah,
actually
it
meet
was
her?
kind of like a range, but we didn't have to go through with it. My dad called me when I was working. He's like, "Hey, there's a girl I met at a noodle shop. You should talk to her." I was like, "That's hell no, that's weird as hell."
Your dad's here,
Yeah,
right?
Because he
I
went
know.
over there because my grandma's over there,
Okay,
and so he went to eat. And then
so your mom's here though,
my mom's there, yeah.
right? Because they have the pho.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
They charge randomly whatever they want for. Man, I've been in there. I think I called you one night, man, or maybe
Market price.
I was like, man, they've never charged this much for fun. They were just like the price.
We changed the price as everything went up. Like
No, I changed the price because this dude
Everything.
walked in. It was crazy, man. And I was like, holy cow! So she was over there in Vietnam,
yeah,
and
my dad introduced me, and I was like, "No, that's weird." He's like, I live here, And anyways, I was like, then he called me again and said, "Hey, you should really talk to this girl. Like, I think she's perfect for you." I'm like, "I'm good."
was he getting any dates here?
Fuck no.
Bitch, what do you mean? I took you out.
Hell no.
So he.
No, I had a girlfriend. We broke up, and then it was like my
Like a
find
real one
myself.
or online?
It was a real one.
Because Doug said it was
What,
online.
bitch? You want to say something?
I went over to his house one time and popped her. That's how real she was. I just pulled out a knife. And the air started coming out of that thing.
No, I was sitting at the gym and I was like, man, because I added her as a friend. And anyways, I was like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah, Tony got creepy.
So you
Well,
did.
yeah, I got creeped out. I'm gonna talk to her. I'm bored. I ain't got shit to talk to, so I called her on Facebook Messenger.
Turns out she's great.
Yeah, and yeah, she was perfect.
So so what was like?
What's weird is like,
Yeah, like
Dad's
it's
like, go buy a plane ticket and go visit your grandma before she dies. You know, she's getting sick and getting older.
Is she still with us?
She's gone.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah. So I left here May 10th, and I got there May 12th. I got married May
2-day trip.
Yeah, it was like
You got married when?
May 19th.
Damn.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I landed, and then like 7 days later we got married.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Like you did some FaceTime chatting up.
That's
and then,
it. Yeah. I talked to her like end of December, like December 29th, 30th of 2016. And then in May.
Did she not have any dates either?
No, she was just. No.
Knee's
That's
sweet,
cra-
though.
Sweet.
She's like,
I've heard nothing but good, man. But it's
Yeah.
just crazy because I know your life and I know here, but then there's that culture, and then I had no idea, man, that it was like I'm just gonna fly over there and marry somebody.
I can't
y'all
wait to
FaceTime for 5 months?
No.
No.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was
Oh.
asking. How long?
Oh,
Yeah, it was like from January, like end of, so like January till May.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was supposed to just go over there and visit my grandma. And then my dad's like, you might as well just get married. I'm like,
so this may sound really wrong,
Yeah.
but people can say what they want when this is posted. But so like, what, are you guys from the same village or the same city or the same town?
I'm from
or?
Muskogee. I was born in Houston and I was raised in Muskogee. Where she lives at. Is
So
where
you're an
my
American
dad's hometown.
citizen.
I am.
And she's a Vietnamese.
What, bitch?
What? I wouldn't say
What?
Paperwork says paperwork might say you were born in Houston.
I was.
That's where the boat hit.
Yeah. No, but my dad's
Yeah,
hometown is where she lives.
Okay.
Which is what? What's it called again?
It's called Ô Mong, which is like right next to Can Tho, like southern Vietnam. Hot
Cool.
as hell. So hot.
So there's tattoo shops over there.
There's a lot.
Really?
Yeah, it's gross. There's a lot of gross ones. There's a lot of really good ones. You don't need a license. You just go open your tattoo shop.
Like a lot of other things over there, man.
There's
Philippines,
a lot of
Thailand.
that. But there's some really good artists too, though.
Yeah.
Have you been to Vietnam with him?
No.
We should go, man.
We planned it. I'm supposed to go.
That'd be awesome to go.
Yeah, because it would definitely be more on like the family, small town family thing, but then like in the bigger cities it'd be like on the tourist tip.
I
Like,
don't know if I really.
man,
Like the best part of culture isn't like when you go to the big cities. Like if you really want to see
Yeah.
culture,
you gotta
go to
know
the countryside.
somebody,
Yeah,
like family.
exactly.
You gotta,
Family,
Yeah.
countryside.
yeah.
But yeah, I go over there. I want to go over there. I just hate traveling like that. It wears me out. It takes
It's
me
exhausting.
a day or two to get it.
Oh, it takes me sometimes a week when I get home to just I'm exhausted and I don't know why.
It took me 2 weeks. I was jet lagged for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
'Cause with 2 kids, one would go to sleep, the other one would wake up, and it was
Yeah.
bad.
Ugh.
Man.
It was not fun.
So how long has your wife been here?
A little over 3 years now. 3 years.
But you guys have been back since.
We went
They
back
just
once.
got back.
Once we went there once and they came back.
Yeah. So your kids were born here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're good. They got red, white, and blue stamped on it, right?
Yep.
And then you had to go through a process,
For my wife to become a citizen.
right?
Yeah.
So does that marriage recognized here, even though you married her in Vietnam?
It was right. What do you mean? Like
So you said you got married in Vietnam.
I did.
So is that marriage recognized here in
Yes,
the United
because
States?
I had to do paperwork for her to be like as a spouse here.
Like a K or a.
Case something, yeah, some kind of number.
She just got her citizenship this weekend, right?
yeah.
The ceremony or the ceremony?
The oath ceremony.
Oath
It's coming
ceremony.
up, or
She already did it.
They did it
oh
this
man!
weekend.
So
Yeah.
how do you say her name?
Ni.
Nee?
Like the end is silent, so it's like ni.
Nee?
Like,
Man, congrats, Nee.
Yeah.
You watch this, man. Red, white, and blue, baby. That's
She's
awesome.
a fucking U.S. citizen, bro.
Fuck,
She loves
That's
it.
cool. That is
She
cool.
loves it.
play Skinnerd.
So that's super
Play
cool.
Freebird.
Yeah, and so that's, just throwing ink, man. If you guys haven't seen them, why don't you guys throw out like your Instagrams and stuff real fast and Facebooks or whatever.
My
Casting
Instagram.
couch, what?
Casting couch what? My Instagram is just at Doug Crane Tattoos. Facebook, you can find me under Doug Crane.
Mine is at Tony Ty.
Kaizen.
Is it?
Tony Ty Kaizen.
Tony Ty Tattoos _ Kaizen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, cool. So
And we'll put those in the description of the video as well.
cool. That's our guy over there, Jon Ashby, man. This guy, this podcast. I know it's the first one. We got some awesome stuff. We're talking about taking it on the road. I've got some legends in fighting, and I mean just all kinds of like great down to earth people and stories. And Jon, I'll give a shout out to him. I want to do that every time. Man, he's dumping tonnage of time and money and effort into this podcast. He's a badass videographer, and we're gonna have some good stuff here. So I appreciate Jon. And so what is some advice as we kind of wrap this up? What's some advice to somebody whether they've got tattoos and that's the thing. When you get a bunch of tattoos, you think you're an expert, because you've got a bunch of tattoos. And really, you're just a canvas. Like, you don't really know nothing about tattoos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just got a bunch. So, whether you're a brand new person and you're thinking about it, or you're blasted and you're going to go back into a tattoo shop tomorrow or making a point, what's some advice, whether they come to you guys or anywhere else, to make that whole thing better for them?
What do you think, Tony?
Man, there's a lot.
Well, when it comes to the idea, like, just come with an idea.
Yeah.
Do not
Don't
send
clusterfuck everything.
10 to 20 references. Stop trying to build your own sleeve and all that. And, it's just come with a general idea.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of people are like, well, I know what I want, but I'm no artist. I can't draw it. Well, it's not your job. Your job is to tell me what you want and your idea. And really, I don't know, maybe I should say it or not, but like, if somebody messages me and sends me 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which people have literally sent up to 20 reference pics of other people's sleeves, I'm out. Yeah. I'm out. You've already just clusterfucked me, and it's just like...
So is that because you guys can't... So what people don't understand is you guys are artists, and you've got to be able to do that, like, in your way. And so if they try to put you in a crosswalk or a cage, they're basically trying to work your hand instead of you work your hand. Is that what you feel? Like maybe they're just trying to...
And a lot of people that hear this are gonna be like, man, those guys are dicks, but it's not that. Like, it's sometimes people do it because of lack of knowledge. They're, and if you message them back sometimes and just be like, hey, look, let's break this down, and then you can kind of get a feel for it. But some people, they're like, I want this from this tattoo, and I'm like, this is somebody's tattoo. Yeah. Well, I want that exact thing. No. I guess that's how I should have put it. And that's what I said when they send me a bunch of pictures of other people's actual sleeves. And it's like, okay, look, I see what's going on here, but we're not doing that because that's on somebody. We've got to change that. Yeah.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And
because you guys appreciate the uniqueness of it.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Because it's so hard to find these days because so many people are getting tattooed these days. You can only tattoo a lion so many ways. You can only tattoo a tiger so many ways, or whatever, a lighthouse so many ways. And if the person's not open to change in interpretation or changing things up, then I'm not open to doing your tattoo. That's why a lot of artists
won't do is like they'll put on like their posts like no more lions, just because there's only a few good references.
That's the thing.
I've literally done 3-4 of the same lions in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's just I want a roaring lion. Okay, well, there's only one good roaring lion. The other one looks like a fucked up face, and like I choose the best one, which is the same one every time. But I try to change up, some of the shading and the whiskers, but it's the same fucking tattoo. Yeah. And that's why people don't want to do that.
What about if somebody's interested in becoming a tattoo artist? What would you, looking back on all your experience, and what would you tell them? What would you tell them to save them a lot of bullshit and time? don't do
You
it.
have to develop. You have to develop a relationship with a tattooer,
Yeah.
and I think. I don't know, man. It's circumstantial. I think it just all depends. I mean, you could get lucky and show up with a great portfolio of art that you've done, and you might find a shop at the right time that's needing or looking for the help, right? Because a lot of times a shop will only bring somebody in if they're like needing, but there's a great chance that you're gonna get screwed out of that apprenticeship. That you're gonna be a shop bitch for a long time, and you're never gonna get any actual legal paperwork done that credits you the hours that you need to become licensed.
Is it? I remember when tattoo shops kind of like just start popping up all over Tulsa. It's kind of like cannabis now, and I was thinking, man, this shit's gonna saturate. Like there can only be so many people get tattoos on a freaking Saturday afternoon. You know, has it kind of slowed down, and or is it still tattoos shopping up or shops popping up?
Yeah.
And is it easier now? Because I remember even with you years ago, like just getting the health department, everybody, man, involved, it was a pain in the ass. So is everything kind of smoothed out a little bit?
A little bit.
With the health department, it's gotten easier.
Yeah, it's gotten a little easier.
I just literally follow the standards, like their protocols and what they're doing,
Yeah.
and then you can open up shop.
Yeah.
So you the one that stepped out because you guys were both in the same shop, and so you went and opened the new shop.
Yeah, me and Tony Boy,
Do I know him?
the other Asian guy.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Maybe
the
I've seen him.
gauges?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But he doesn't. Is he tattoo?
Yeah.
Oh, I've never
Yeah,
seen him do
he's
that. I
a-
just seen
he's
him hanging
amazing
out.
too. He's amazing.
He was over there with you guys, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Okay. And so now Doug's dumping your trash and stuff at your shop.
No, no. Is
Is he setting up your station and stuff?
No.
We've got
Doug is like my mentor, so
No, they do.
I'm forever grateful for that. So.
Yeah, they do me good over there. We
You do what?
do me good, boy.
Yeah.
We got Albert now
Yeah.
taking
little-
out trash.
That
That
little Lucy
motherfucker.
Lou girl.
So you guys got somebody apprenticing under you
His
Yeah.
nephew,
Yeah. It's my cousin.
cousin.
Yeah, my
from
cousin.
here or Nam?
From
He's from Beijing.
He's born here.
he was born in Louisiana.
Oh,
Howard's
he's a
a good
Cajun
kid.
Vietnamese dude.
He's half
Half
Chinese,
Chinese.
half Vietnamese. Yeah.
Okay.
He's funny.
He's half commie.
Half what?
Commie.
Damn.
Did he know about
I'm
the
just
balloon?
He did. He said something about it the other day. He's like, I control the balloon. Because I call him a commie.
I control the balloon. Yeah, it's sitting on your shoulders, motherfucker.
So where do you see yourself, Tony and Doug? Where do you see yourself in like 10 years? Where do you see?
Sometimes I don't like thinking that far.
Yeah, if you would have asked me 10 years ago where I see myself like right now, I wouldn't have said here. Like it, you know what I mean? So,
Well, yeah, it was you either thought dead or dragging chains or both.
fuck, 10 years ago, who
Yeah.
knows? I was out of control.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was wild, bro.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm scared to hang out with you.
You're an idiot.
Man, this dude though, like when he used to get off on his drinking, man, he just man, he's like, and I spent 10 years rodeoing, going down the road. I've been with crazy cowboys. This dude, man, like one night I was ready to fight him in a limo one night.
Yeah.
This dude would not shut up.
Doug would want to fight me. I'll smash him out.
And he's just looking at me across this big old limo, and I'm just like, man, and and I don't play well with others very well, and he's over there just cutting up because he'll entertain himself when he's on the juice, man. He don't even care.
Oh, I was drinking straight out of the bottles in the limousine.
And then he gives me his money. He's like, only let me have one at a time, bro. Control it. You hold my money, I'm gonna be good. I'm like, all right. So we go in this place, and we're with like people that aren't used to like us, And so
I thought it was funny though.
yeah, yeah, talking about their wives and stuff. Anyway, so he gets one, or he orders, and I'm there because I'm actually paying. He's like, "See, bro, you're gonna control me," and he turns around, and this dude's got a drink in each hand.
Yeah.
I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "You said buy you a drink," and you go, and he went, "For each hand." And he walks off. And so every time we went 2 or 3 every time it was double down. He's like, but did last call, man, we got to catch up. And I was just like, man, this is why you end up going over the waterfall in an inner tube every time.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, I mean, crazy. He's so hard to handle. And he loves me. I can't imagine when when it's no one around he gives a shit about, man.
Man, I think I was like 22 that time. That had to have been like 2007.
You did that the other day.
Fuck, I probably did it last night. But a lot of that too, like, you know, I started going on the road with these guys with dirt bikes at like 16 years old. I didn't even graduate high school because I was always gone. But one of them was maybe a year older than me, but he had an older brother. But like I had my first vodka Red Bull when I was like 16 or 17 years old, and I'll be 38 next month. You know, some people don't even know Red Bull's been around that long, but it's like, and then I lose my mom at the age of 20. And not only that, like, what, you know, of course I'm drinking. I'm 20 years old. I'm a tattoo apprentice. It's just, and then it was just, you lose your mom. So then, like, it was just another excuse to drink, and it just fucking spiraled. My 20s were just fucking nuts.
Yeah. And so, I remember, the night that Doug and I met, do you know how he and I met?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So this dude, I'm working plain clothes, and I'm basically security and bodyguarding a family and their business and all that stuff. And so there's a group of motocross guys and a whole bunch of people come in, and I already knew, like, I know that crowd from working clubs and stuff for 20 years. I was like, okay. So I'd walked back there, and I seen this girl, and I thought she looked familiar. I mean, not from Tulsa, like
San Diego.
And so I was like, oh man. So I knew it was trouble. So I go back there, and I'm like, hey guys, here's the deal. This is your area, right? We're cool. Stay in your area. Don't be stupid. I said, if you have any problems with anybody, because if you know that crowd, like, if one of them starts talking to you, there's going to be 5 talk to you.
Right.
And I said, if you have any problems, man, come get me. That's all I ask. Let me be the guy.
Yeah.
We're cool. Well, then all of a sudden, you know, a little while later, I hear this roar from back there, and I hear F-bombs and everything going off, and F you and you mother effers and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh shit. So I go back there, and there's this little short bastard back there, and he's like talking about effing people up, and he's gonna do this, and you nasty skanky motherfucker, all this stuff, you know. And I'm like, so I put my hand on his shoulder. First words Doug ever said to me, what?
Well,
what?
I remember I was gonna throw that plate.
So I know, yeah.
First night I remember blacking out. By the way,
so he'd been out, passed out in the parking lot for over an hour,
yeah,
at least, maybe more. And so what he thought was, so they ordered him a burger and some fries, right, or something. Well, they told him, being that kind of group, Cowboys used to do the same shit. He went to eat it or something, and they told him that they took that plate off somebody else's table, and it wasn't even paid for. It wasn't even. So
I was eating somebody else's leftover food, and those motherfuckers are still sitting there. So naturally, like, I get mad at the other people. I don't know why. Either way, in my mind, I'm fucking hurling this plate across the bar.
He was about to get stupid, and so I told him, I said, man, let's fix this. I don't want to have to throw you out. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, throw me out. And I'm like, well, I'm going to. And he's like, well, then, you know, but he's like, well, he's talking about all the motocross guys. He goes, it's these guys. He goes, throw their ass out. He goes, let me eat a burger. He's like, throw all them out, let me eat a burger. And I even said, look, and they're like, no. Cause I was like, look, you can all go or you can fix this. And so then they're like trying to tell him, no, that's really your burger. Well, he ain't buying it now. He's like, no, you all you roaches, man. You this is somebody else's burger, and look, they're sitting there looking at me right now because I got their food. These people at this table had no idea what was going on. Like, this is all just this fabricated stuff. And so I was like, look, here's the deal. If they don't buy you another burger, I'll go have the kitchen cook you one. Just, you got to shut up, man, or everybody's got to go. And he's like, no, you shut them up, man. He would not unwind. And then finally, what's his name? I loved him. He's from around here. Little blonde-headed dude, motocross.
Colt,
man. That dude, He should do like international terrorism negotiations because he's so goofy, man. He's still alive, right? I hope. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So anyway, Colt was like, I got a hold of Doug and settled him down, and then I don't even know how it happened after that, like how we even stayed in touch, or because I've never done that with a.
You gave me a card, I think. I think what caught your attention was there used to be an arena cross series called Buku. There used to be an energy drink. I don't think it lasted long, but it was called Buku. But they had their own series. It was East and West Coast series, and it used to come through Tulsa, or it did that year. But we had a bunch of San Diego guys with us, and this is before Tap Out was big. Like Tap Out was basically
Well, I know because there was a girl. The girl that came in had Tap Out stuff
Ape
on.
was wearing a Tap Out beanie.
Yeah,
She
and I
was from
like,
San
and you don't
Diego.
and you don't see that look like.
Well, there was no Tap Out in Oklahoma in 2005.
And so I knew about Tap Out.
Well, yeah, if you're in,
I mean, it was
if
in a
you were,
fight game, yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, you don't see that being worn in, and then of course
Not
you got to
that long
understand.
ago.
No, you got to see. You got to understand if you know Southern Cal like has a look like, and they're just all these guys come rolling in, and there's two girls, and I was like, okay, but I don't remember exactly what happened with this man or how it happened that we became brothers. like
you
that.
gave me a card or something, and I started going to that kickboxing gym with you or something.
I don't know. You
Yeah,
trained with me off and on.
yeah,
I mean, all the way from Muskogee to
yeah.
when I had a gym there and here anyway. Oh
Yeah.
man, it's been a crazy ride. Well, man, I appreciate you guys. Anything you want to throw out there, Tony Ty? No?
Nothing. This is fun.
Nothing?
Yeah.
What about you, Doug? Man, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, thanks for
Yeah,
having
thank
us.
you,
bro.
First one, no
Yeah,
bull,
you-
real talk.
Yeah.
And John over there behind the cameras and everything, probably talking to 20 smarter people than us. Because he's on a whole nother level back there. Hey, I hope you liked the video. Hope you like No Bull Real Talk. We're going to have a lot of good stuff. If you like it, please hit the like button. Smash all the videos to kind of get us repped out and blown out there and popular. And share it. And then, man, throw us some comments on what you want to see. Some real stuff. Not stuff that everybody else is talking about, but behind the scenes stuff. And we're also working on a deal to take it on the road. So we're going to be able to hit up some places and people a long way. But man, until next time, hit up these sponsors, donate to some of these places right here. Couldn't keep the doors open without them. We appreciate you. On behalf of Tony Ty and Doug Crane, I'm Craig Blacklock. No Bull Real Talk.